Why are you whispering? We're now live.
I know, but I don't know if I can say it.
We're on. Well, it's too late now. We're up and running. So let me get this straight. She's been non-stop. She's been non-stop shouting, and the camera's been off. And the camera goes on. She goes,
I didn't realise it was on.
Why do you think Zach was clapping?
I didn't know, Zach. I thought that you were giving me like a little standing ovation, like.
You were talking about ADHD. So you think fucking Zach just stood there like clapping. Well, get the test on Zach now whilst you're on the laptop. Out of the 18 questions. But no. So who's your new fella, Lucy?
Chris. Come on.
Are we going to talk? It's not Chris.
It's not Chris. There is no new fella, so to speak.
Right. What's his name?
God, I am not at liberty to put
right. I know for a fact he's a videographer. So if you're a videographer,
no, I am never telling you a secret ever again.
Right, if you listen to this, whoever you are, you're a videographer and you were involved with Lucy Brabin. You don't know it, but you were in a relationship because
you don't know yet, but
this is how you're gonna find out. In fact, this drops in 2 weeks, so
by then, like
if we
time's a ticket and all that.
How many days are in May? 30. So on the 12th of May, you were gonna find out that you're in a relationship, mate. You might not know. She might have shot before then, but this is officially
your announcement.
This is it, yeah.
And you know what? To be honest, I'm not even in the country, so
and you know what, mate? I'm happy for you. I'm happy to see flourishing young love. Do you know what I mean?
I think you're so embarrassing.
Yeah, it's so bad. Honestly, like I just don't know where we're going with this. But to be honest, we would have places. We would have somewhere to go with this if you brought your fucking spidergram.
I did do a spider diagram. That is correct, and. You left me on hanging. You left me hanging for like 5 weeks.
I'm going to whisper this in a very sinister way. I will pull the WhatsApps up to that camera and make you look really stupid. Don't make me do it. Because I look like Joe from You. Like the amount of messages I've sent you. But
then, did you or did you not block me for a little while whilst you were dieting?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're hard to deal with on a regular day.
Why am I hard to deal with? Are you discriminating against the fact that I might have
discriminating?
ADHD? Discriminating?
Why would I? What am I discriminating against?
Against my ADHD?
ADHD folk? Is that what I'm...
Yes. Is that what you're hard to deal with on a daily? Wow. Jamie, is that because I'm a woman and I've got ADHD?
Why are you coming for me? Because you're a woman. Is this where we're going? I'll quote Tupac me. I'll make this really deep. How dare you? I can't believe you're bringing this up. Are you trying to get me cancelled? Because you're going the right way.
Exactly right now, yeah.
You're actually going the right way, so please don't. Okay. So come on, like, kick us off with something.
What would you like to know?
Firstly, I want to know how the fuck I actually know you.
Okay.
Because I feel like I don't know. I feel like I just popped up one day I just woke up one day and you was in my life.
Oh, that's kind of cute.
Don't take it in a cute way. It wasn't meant to be cute.
Okay, well,
at all.
So we actually know each other because I was PTing and training in Dedicated Fitness, and I'd done a couple of videos for them, I think, and I think you'd clocked me off one of them videos, and that made it sound a little bit sinister, like you clocked me, but you clocked me off one of them videos, and you contacted me about doing a photo shoot.
For Merakilo?
Yes. And you are still in my phone as Jamie Clark Merakilo.
Get out now. Get out. Because that was when I used to own shares, and now I don't. I'm actually nothing to do. I can't slag them off because I'm nothing to do with them. However, they still do my uniform. I'm just Jamie Clark.
PT.
No. No. You're just Lucy Brabin in my phone.
You're Jamie Clark Merakilo.
Please take that out.
Okay.
But that's how we know each other.
Yeah, that is how we know
crazy.
each other. And that was quite a while ago now.
4 or 5 years. 4 or 5 years. I've known Chris like way less than you.
Life.
I know. Known Chris like way less than you. It's only been 2 years, me and Chris, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like you've always been friends.
Whilst we're here, right? He knows what's coming, right? Who did you speak to outside up with Chris?
Yeah.
I will play this voice note live on podcast. Because he does not believe, because one day, because he still moans about how much he charges me. And he'll go, you get like a loyalty rate. Yeah, you get a loyalty discount. And then I'm like, the amount of people I've sent your way, and I named a few, and then I named Junior's like, she's always known me. She's never like all this type of stuff. And then I played the voice note out loud, and he's just not having it.
I have always, I mean, Chris, when the hell did you come into my life? I have always known Chris. And I think I actually knew Chris because when Chris was first building up his portfolio, he asked me to do a photo shoot. So I know you both through the same kind of reasoning. But where I spoke to you, and that was the reason why I ended up signing up with Chris.
Are you listening to this? Oh my god!
Oh
my god! Chris is choosing the smoke here.
Chris, tell you what, you're
Chris,
not happy about this whole situation, are you? You're still my guy.
Do you want to sit in? Do you want to swap? Do you want to have your goal now?
You're still my guy.
We'll get this out the way, Chris. We'll both go in and then we'll get started. Do you want to like get in here and I'll sit there? 100%. We'll like tag team swap out.
I think that this was a bad idea. I'll be honest.
Right. Do you remember anything from the Spider-Gun that you did? Me and Lucy met up for a coffee. Right. She spent half it ignoring me, and then did some nice, fancy, cloudy spider diagram, and then we don't have. So we had such a good podcast lined up, and then now we've just not because you forgot it.
But that's because we didn't do it for the next 5
I feel like we
weeks.
just have one topic, and it's just going to run off though. This is just me and you. And it's just going to be this podcast.
I think it's going to be absolutely fine. And I think if you attack it with that negativity, I think that...
Right, who's hurt you today?
I'm in a good mood today.
Someone's upset you today.
I'm in a good mood today.
Someone's upset you.
No one's
You've
upset
never been like this before. And you've chosen to have sat on a camera to be like this.
No,
Out of all the years I've known you.
with you. I'm just stamping the authority with you.
What authority?
My authority.
Over what?
Over you.
Wow, you've changed you.
I know. Who do I think I am these days? Heavy.
You're fucking rude, you. Oh my God.
I think that you should just get to the topic.
Is it because you're single? Is it?
I am actually comfortable being single, by the way.
Should we start this again? The whole thing?
Yeah.
No, we're joking. But what was I saying then? So I actually do remember some of the spider diagrams, so it's good that I'm here.
Okay.
I will try and make this as seamless as possible because evidently you can't.
It couldn't be your podcast without you.
Oh. Was that meant to be cute?
Yeah.
That was nice. Thanks. You brought it down there. Thank you very much. What I was going to say then, but one thing with you, which I think would be really, there's it's going to like proper cringy, and I hate like complimenting people, especially you. But like, there's a lot to your story which is actually really good, relatable, and people can take loads from it. Right? It's the nicest thing I'm going to say to you today.
I know.
No nice words. No, you look good and stuff like that. Just that's it.
I'll just assume all of the above.
Yeah, that's the only good thing you're getting from me.
Okay.
So obviously, one thing that I found really interesting with you, I know we've just been joking about it with Chris, but like, you were gonna like knock it on the head.
Knock it on the head.
You were.
I love that.
You were gonna knock it on the head though.
Coach
like
him.
a few years ago, you were just like, yeah, I'm gonna knock it on the head. So do you want to just tell us a little bit more about that? Like, so obviously you've been a PT for ages, haven't you?
Yeah.
And then obviously, like many PTs do, they face the hardship of this job's actually fucking hard. I don't get a lot of
inconsistency of the job.
the inconsistency of clients and money and shit like that coming in. So like, what happened for you to kind of go, I'm having a roll of the dice? What got you there, and how are you here now? Do you know what I mean? Because obviously you smashed it now, right? You're doing really well, but
I'm like, No,
yeah, just nodding along.
Yeah. So I started off PTing maybe in around like 2018, 2019, and I essentially went and worked straight for a pretty well-known body transformation company.
Are we going to keep this?
Yeah, on the what's the word? Stum.
On the stum.
On the stum.
For the just in case we get like a
so-
defamation of character lawsuit off the back of this podcast.
Yeah,
We'll keep
yeah.
it. We'll keep them.
But I worked
Unnamed.
for a body transformation company. That was pretty well known, and it was a good place to start actually because the education there was like second to none. So I felt like I learned a lot off the back of my your PT course. I don't really feel like teaches you all that much. If I'm going to be honest, it teaches you like the bare minimum. And then if I feel like you think you know loads, but then you actually go to work with people who do know loads, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, I'm like a monkey compared to these.
Yeah, like what the hell?
It's stupid, isn't it?
So I went and worked for that transformation company, learned a hell of a lot there, and it was also the perfect place to start because they used to provide us with the clients. So we didn't have to do any sales, we didn't have to go out there and find our own clients, anything like that. And I did that while I was in university, so I was in a full-time PT job and a full-time university degree at the same time, which was a lot.
I know you're stressed now, but like you were like mega stressed back then. I feel like you've never not been stressed.
I think I live in a state of chronic stress, maybe. And I just don't notice it anymore because I'm always stressed.
That's like your frequency now.
I think that's part and parcel of the whole ADHD suspect
Are
because
we bringing it back to this?
well, no, we're gonna talk about it properly. But I think that that is part of the thing though, because I'm constantly quite chaotic. I work well under pressure. I'm quite like.
Do you actually want to talk about that?
Oh, I don't mind talking about
Well,
it.
we're here now. You've brought it back up.
Well, yeah, and we will bring that up. But going back to the PC thing, because you want to know about that, don't you?
Yeah, but
First.
listen, we've got all the time we've got till 4:30. We've got to leave.
Not all the time.
We've got all the time in the world, but we've got 40 minutes. We can get all this covered in 40 minutes.
Okay.
So you can't just keep dipping your toe in and out of the ADHD thing.
Okay.
But you know what, as well, like a lot of people do have ADHD. Like my mate, literally like 2-3 months ago, like when he's gone his whole life, and I suppose a lot of people do this, where they sit and think like sounds stupid. I think I've got something, but I'm scared to go and get diagnosed because then I'm like labelled, you're this, and then it's kind of like you can't get away from it. But I know a lot of people, some people kind of like, when they get it, they use it as like, I don't want to say it's an excuse, but they lean on it. And other people, it's kind of like, oh, I'm that way because of this. Now it makes sense. And they kind of are better when they've had that. Like, a lot of people will probably benefit from hearing you, because you are like an extremely successful coach. So a lot of people probably get it and it kind of like feel like it binds them. Like, oh, I can't do this because I've got ADHD.
Or like, I suppose limits them. I mean...
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see like your...
so just to preface, like I'm not diagnosed with it yet, but I am. That's the next step. So literally everybody in my life is like, you've definitely got it. Like, so, and I mean, even you said, yeah, like definitely. And I think a lot of things in my life like kind of make sense now, because like I did an online test which doesn't tell you whether or not you've got it, but it does tell you kind of like your likelihood
at the foundation of it.
Yeah, and the likelihood was just like, yeah, totally. And I think it makes a lot of sense now as to why I am like quite chaotic, quite hyperactive at times, I would say. And then also like with things I'm passionate about, the focus is easy to have, but with those other tasks, like even in coaching, even though I love it, there's certain tasks within coaching that like take me a longer period of time. I don't enjoy as much. And because of that, like I will procrastinate on that until the end of the day, and then I'll try and get it all done, and then I'll feel stressed. And then burnout and overwhelms, like I feel easier to come by when you maybe you've got ADHD or you think you've got ADHD. It's easier to come by because the things that you're passionate about, you will work on.
Yeah.
And the other things that you're not so passionate about, like end up getting on top of you and causing overwhelm, I would say.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't take a lot for me to kind of like spill over.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm like actively working on right now.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things make sense, and it's just like, well, a lot of, okay, maybe that's actually why. And I don't actually want the diagnosis to be medicated or anything, because I don't think I would be. And I don't want the diagnosis to lean on it. I more want the diagnosis because now it all makes sense in my head. Like why I react the way I react, and why I thought that it was the naughty kids in school who had ADHD. Like you had to be naughty or you know, like didn't get on well in school. But that's actually not the case, and I'm only finding that out now at 26 years old. It actually presents different in females than males. And it doesn't always come across as like naughtiness.
But it's a very grey area as well, because it's like people can be polar opposites but have it.
Yeah.
So it's not just that, oh, like I know like we were joking ago, we had blatantly you've got it, but like someone could be the opposite of you and have it. Like it's not just the black and white, that's that, you've got it. It could be like completely polar opposites, but you've got traits that fall within it.
100%. And I think one of the reasons why it was never picked up in school or anything like that is because I actually liked school, got on well at school. The subjects that I excelled in, because I was book smart, so the subjects that I excelled in were things that I enjoyed, that I was passionate about, like the art, the creative subjects, like the more
expressive side of stuff.
Yeah, like English. I was going to be a secondary school English teacher. That was what I was going to be. So yeah, like I that was just my element. Art, my element. Design, tech, my element. Like RE even, because that was kind of I liked really diving into like the philosophical side of things. I just used to find that side of stuff, the ethics and everything, really
interesting.
And that used to blow my mind. I don't know, probably people like an A and RE, but like genuinely, like it was one of my favorite subjects. So everything that like I did well in, it was because I had a passion for. Everything that I didn't do so well in, it's quite clear that it's because I had a frustration for it and could never focus.
So is it
in
now
those classes.
making sense?
Yeah.
Now that you've had it, you're like, oh. That's why.
But also like the way it presents. So I'm a massive talker, like, as you know, and like often I will cut people off in sentences, or I will finish their sentence for them, and it's like I can't. It's just a compulsion. I can't. It's like I can't not do it. But now when I've been researching, it's like, well, that's actually why you probably do that.
Yeah.
And also when you act upon impulse, like when I was younger, I used to have really bad, like I never used to get in trouble for it or anything like that. And it would have to be something like, you know, pretty significant to kick it off. But if I went in terms of anger, like if you pissed me off, like if I went, I lost my fucking mind, like, and you couldn't calm me down. And that's the impulsivity side of things. And obviously I'm learning to be better at that as I age. But
so you're, because I said before, like some people can kind of like be blinded by it. Some people kind of like have, like this answers a lot of questions. Do you think you're that end?
Yeah.
Where you like, it sounds daft, but it's almost freeing.
Well, yeah, because
that you know it, because you understand yourself better.
Yeah. And because if I've had it, then I've had it for 26 years of life, and I've done all right up until this point.
Yeah, that's the way I kind of looked at it, because I know this sounds really stupid. I don't know what mine is, but I always think like I've got some kind of bipolar, genuinely. Like, and not a lot of people would understand it. When I'm on my own, I'm very erratic with my moods. It's when I'm with people, I'm great, but it's when I'm on my own. I think one thing is now, especially because they're so good at kind of like identifying it, understanding it. Like you said, when we was kids in school, if you had ADHD, it was like you're a little shit, basically.
You're a naughty kid.
But it's not that. It really isn't that. But I sat there one day and I was just like, I think I'll be all right if I ever did get diagnosed or something. Like if I went out my way and did a test for like the way my moods can fluctuate when I'm doing, like I'm at home or I'm like doing work or whatever. Like I've done it for 28 years, so it's kind of like I'm at peace with it, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
You kind of know how to handle it.
Yeah.
Like, to some
so
extent.
I think it would be more freeing in that way. So, what do you think since this? Like you've just kind of had? Do you feel better? I know it sounds stupid. Do you feel better like knowing it, or
now that like I've started to kind of begin to piece the pieces together? Yeah. Obviously, I want like the formal diagnosis so I can be like, yeah, that's what it is.
So it's like official.
Yeah, but. Yeah, like I would say so. It kind of makes a lot of sense, and like it also makes sense as to why the things that have impacted my life in such a positive way have. So like over the last kind of maybe 2 years ago, like I went and did a meditation course. Like I feel like I can say this. I can say the name of it, can't I? I did the Martin Bone meditation course. I did the levels through from level 1 to level 3, and like. Do not say this lightly, and I am not like the airy fairy, like I am not saying it lightly. Like meditation honestly changed my life.
Yeah.
Like they say it opens up neurological pathways in the brain that help to help you with decision making, let's say.
Yeah.
And I feel like that my life started to change massively when I started doing that.
I'm going to weigh in on this in a second because I actually meditate. And
good. Love that.
I've meditated for years. And that's why I do like a lot of float therapy stuff as well, like once a month. Like I meditate loads. And what you've just said there, it's so difficult you've got to feel it, I think. Trying to explain it to someone why meditation's good is like flogging a dead horse.
It's so hard.
So what do you do? Well, you just lie still.
Just sit there.
Just listen to something and just kind of like let go. And it's like, you're talking out loud, you're like, this sounds so stupid. But like, when I'm like banging to meditation and I'm banging to everything else, like it's like brain fog just completely goes, and it's like everything slows down. And where I'm quite erratic and I'm not organised, because I do go through phase, obviously, where I struggle to get it in. But then when my routine's completely set, like, and I'm like meditating, reading daily, like, it's like life is just so calm.
It's on a more even keel, isn't it?
Yeah.
Life in general, when you keep up with it.
Yeah.
And I think as well, a lot of people get really confused with the idea of meditation itself. So I also did like my yoga teaching, and I've taught some yoga, obviously in person and stuff. And those people will always say to me like, how do you meditate though? Like, because obviously you meditate in yoga as well. And it's just like, stop trying to clear your mind, because that's not what it's about. Because they're like, I can't, my brain's always busy. I'm like, my brain's always busy.
I think it's like not like clearing, dealing with your mind when you do it. Because like I do it sometimes, and I always try to like envision stuff. I'm not going to talk about like the whole manifestation thing, which everyone goes on about these days. It's like fashionable, but like I try to envision a lot of what I want. But sometimes it's just like thoughts just flying. And
Yeah.
it's like dealing with that, isn't it? Like whilst you're there, and then it's very difficult to kind of like get across to you, but so beneficial.
Do you know what analogy I always like to use? And I'm just going to say it just in case there is anybody watching who actually wants to
What do
learn
you
to
mean if
meditate.
there's anyone watching?
No, who
Big
wants to
deal,
learn
this.
to who wants to learn to meditate? You know what I'm saying? If there's anyone who
joking.
wants to learn to meditate,
If anyone's listening.
If anyone's
not
listening.
Zero downloads, zero views.
Absolute Stephen Barley. If anybody's listening.
So what you're saying?
But yeah, if anyone's listening who does actually want to learn how to meditate, and you are stuck in your own head thinking, God, I can't clear my mind of all of these thoughts. I can't slow down the mind because it's so busy. Imagine, so when you've got your eyes closed, visualize a stream or a river, and think of every time like a thought pops into your mind, imagine that thought literally like the words floating along the river, and just let it pass by, because the whole point of meditation is not about clearing the mind of thoughts, because that's physiologically impossible.
Yeah.
It's more about seeing the thought, recognizing its existence and the fact that it's there, but also not diving into the thought and allowing yourself to get caught up in a narrative that the thought has brought along with it. So you just allow it to pass by, save it for later, dive into it once you've done your meditation. That's the best visualization that anybody ever gave to me. And I think it was Diane who actually gave that to me in my yoga course, because like I was like, sometimes you can struggle to get into it, you know, if your mind is particularly busy, and you're trying to like, you're thinking about work, you're thinking about that, like, and that was the best piece of advice anyone ever gave me, and it works 100% of the time.
That will probably help loads of people, that, you know.
I hope it does.
No, because you got to think of how many people, like, it's not just us. I know coaches are going about being fucking busy and all this, but like, there's other people who are busy with like kids, busy with like different like commitments in life, and like a lot of it's worrying, isn't it? Like worrying about things going right, worrying about getting things correct and not doing the wrong thing, whatever. So like, regardless of like what it is, I think it's really beneficial for most people. But if you can sit there and do what you've just said, because I've never heard of that. But I've sat there and gone, that's actually a really fucking good way of doing it. Because it's literally just like kind of watching it fall off, innit? Like you've recognised it's there and you've gone, all right, it's not going to impact. Like, just deal with it.
And I can deal with it later. Like, do I need to really dive into that thought right now and start running away with myself on some kind? Not really. Also, as well, something else that you can do if you are someone who struggles to like sit still and rid the mind of things is focusing on your breath. So like that sounds like a really simple tip, but do you know when you breathe in, there is, like, before you then breathe out, there is a slight pause in the breath where no air is coming in or out of the body, and that is the pause that you should focus on. So when you breathe in, that little pause, that slight split second of a pause, focus on that whilst you're trying to meditate, and I promise that will make it so much easier. You focus on that pause of breath, it kind of provides like a stillness. Do you know what I mean? And each time you breathe in, like, you're suddenly really hyper aware of like how the air feels coming into your nostrils, how it feels on its way out, because you're thinking so much about that pause that eventually you're not really diving into any thoughts. You're too busy focusing on your breath.
That. I focus on my heartbeat, me. Like,
Do you?
Like,
I've never heard anyone do that, but that's interesting.
I focus on my heartbeat, and that's why I just completely let go, because it's like I'm not letting go. I'm focusing. So I'll just sit there, and like, obviously, because when I've got earphones in, or like I'm at float therapy or whatever, and like you've got these in, your heartbeat's like
you can hear it
really loud. So I just focus on that, and like literally nothing enters my head. Then when I get out, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like so refreshed.
Love that.
Yeah, it's great. I always focus on my heartbeat, but I suppose you're always better because you can control your breathing, whereas controlling your heart rate is like a lot more difficult. So it could go up and
but
down.
It's still a good tip for somebody. That might come in handy for somebody who maybe can't, for whatever reason, focus on the breath.
So did you do any of this? Was this pre or post deciding like, I'm getting my shit together with coaching?
This was...
And I want you to appreciate how well I have segued back into that conversation.
I do.
Before when you went, we can't do this, and I was like, yeah, we will.
Yeah, we will.
See? Full circle? I'm a professional, really.
You are a professional podcaster now.
Professional podcaster now. You should expect some good things from me. But no, genuinely, was that like... Did you have like sounds so fucking deep, this, but did you have like a moment of clarity where you was like, this is for me, this isn't for me? What went on there? Like, what was it that kind of like made you like... So obviously we spoke, it was only like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And you was like,
So I left that body transformation company.
Yeah.
I went and joined an online coaching company, which didn't end well, needless to say. It wasn't for me.
Again, defamation of character.
Yeah,
Let's
can't say too
just
much,
leave that out.
But it wasn't for me. And then I kind of that was where I kind of really hit a rough patch.
Yeah.
There was loads of personal things going on. Me nan got diagnosed with lung
I was
cancer.
about to say, if you don't mind me asking, like, what went on? Like?
So me nan got diagnosed with lung cancer, which she is a survivor of, and she is still.
That's
with
boss.
us, and
That's great news.
So it was awful at the time, but you know it's all good now. But then whilst all that was kind of going on, I ended a long relationship. Like I ended a long relationship with my fella at the time, which was dead impactful. And I was just in a really bad place, to be honest. And then I started I realised that I needed to get my shit together. And I was like, right, I want to give coaching another go. This is what I'm passionate about. I'm going to give myself a year.
Yeah.
Right? So I went to, and also bearing in mind that during this time, the whole COVID situation is still going on. We are still in and out of lockdown. And I was at the time not a happy person.
It was like end of 2021, wasn't it? Middle of 2021.
Yeah.
It was around then, wasn't it? It was like 2 years ago.
Yeah. And I was just, I was in a really bad place.
So it is something interesting. Like I had a conversation with someone like this the other day. Like, do you know when you had all that shit going on with obviously splitting up with your fella, obviously the things with your nan, which is like great hearing, like you're just a survivor of it. But a lot of people, like, it's stressful at the time, but do you not think your life was falling together?
I think I look
not
back
falling
on
apart, falling together.
I look back at it and think it was falling together because I think all of it led me to that point.
You're here today, yeah. So everything's going like really good, like for your side of things now, is it? So it could be like everything happens for a reason, really, doesn't it?
I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason. And when I look back on that time in my life, like that was the kind of catalyst what made me go to meditation.
Yeah.
And if I hadn't have gone to meditation, I'd have never have started my own business. And if I'd have never have started my own business, I wouldn't be sitting here now.
Yeah.
And I also wouldn't have like the amazing opportunities and privilege that I have now.
Yeah. You are smashing it at the minute, aren't you, to be fair, with your side? You are. Like,
give it a go.
I know I promised to say, like, I'm not going to say anything nice about you again. This is your second one, right?
Of life. Second one of life.
Yeah, not today. This is like of all the years that I've known her. But genuinely, I think I might have actually said it to Chris as well. Like, when you got in contact with him and then I heard you do like a little bit of work with him and then your culture was picking up, I'm genuinely like really proud of you. Genuinely. Oh. I know everyone goes like, oh yeah, I'm proud of you. Genuinely, because obviously we've spoke for years on and off, and I know we laugh about like, you fucking ignore me and blah, 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 but like we have spoke on and off for years. But knowing where you were and like where you are now, like it's fucking great to see, genuinely, from like a personal level. So like it is actually really good to see like how much you've come on, and you are fucking smashing it. Like every time I look at like your page now, like your content's on point, you've got loads of clients, you personally like going better and better as well. Like, why do you think that is now? Do you think it's because of something you learned whilst all that shit was going on, or has it been like a constant progression? Like, what's gone on?
I think it was maybe. I mean, I still think that like most coaches are working through the whole self-limiting belief thing, because I don't believe that any of us are a finished product, and there's very few and far between coaches that I've met and speak to, and I speak to a whole lot of them on a weekly basis, that they are 100% confident in themselves and what they do, and it's never all going to be taken away, because when you run your own business and stuff, there is that fear that it's going to all be taken away in an instant. But I think I have just learned to go with the flow of business, number one, and then I think I've learned how to become more mature in business, which is another thing, and not take things so personally. Like if a client leaves, it's not a personal thing. No. It's just you've got to learn how to grow that thick skin. And I think the main catalyst in terms of like progression in terms of my career, I'd say, is probably really the groundwork was being laid, I would say, 2 years ago. But I still had a lot of things to work through, and I feel like I've only really come into my own the past year or so, the past 12 months. And I'd say that's probably down to the fact that I actually started reaching out for help with the things that I didn't know what to do with. So I got a business mentor, and I know that, you know, there's varying opinions on the validity of all of that and whatever.
I think it's a great thing.
But I personally think you do need somebody in your corner who knows what what to do when you don't know what to do.
That's literally our job.
Yeah, and I think that's why I think it's so important personally.
Yeah.
I think it's so important because I don't think I'd have done what I've done in terms of like the whole fat loss journey and physique journey. I don't think I'd have done what I'd have done if I didn't have Al, my coach.
Yeah.
In that sense, I don't think I'd have done what I did with like the personal development if I didn't have Martin, and I don't think I'd have done at the time, and then I don't think I'd have done what I've done in business so far if I didn't have Mark.
Yeah.
So. I'm my performance coach at the time as well.
Yeah.
So, and then of course, like now, I work as a performance coach as well for Coaching Concierge, which is the program that I actually came through.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, I think
full circle.
I think you doing that is sounds so stupid. It's kind of like leading by example in a way. It's like I recognise I need a coach. And I'm a coach. Yeah. Like, how can you not recognise that you need it as well? Do you know what I mean? And I always try to like say it to people like you've mentioned there with business, you get a business coach. With like performance, you get a performance coach. And then like I try and get it across to people like, if you're seemingly trying to do the same stuff and getting the same fucking results,
you need to change.
Maybe you need a coach.
Maybe
you know
you need someone to tell you what to actually do.
It's like with anything, like obviously at the moment, like it's fucking well documented on my Instagram and everything else that like I'm renovating my house. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, so I hire people that do.
Like, it's like if you get a leaky pipe, you're going to try and fix it. No, you're not a plumber.
What am I going to do? Go upstairs and write a fucking program and tell it to fucking get better? Do you know what I mean?
Someone to fix it, man.
I'm going to get a fucking plumber. Like, it's so weird. Like, I agree with everything you've just said. Like, if you need coaching in any aspect of your life, get a fucking coach. It is like the best. And I know it sounds like I'm plugging myself and plugging you and everyone else. But like, if you want to go out your way and get better, whether it's mentally, physically, whatever, there's fucking people there to help you.
Do you know what as well? Like, and I know people must be sick to death of hearing coaches like us talk about investing into yourself, right?
Yeah.
But I think the reason we speak about it so much is not because it's like, oh, buy from me. It really isn't
it's
like
not.
that. It's us saying, look, we know that it's important because we have also had to go through this process of investing into yourself. Do you know that like when I invested into myself in terms of like getting a business mentor, I couldn't afford that at the time.
No.
I couldn't afford that. I had to take out a loan. I couldn't afford that. But I knew that it was on me to do something about changing my circumstances. Otherwise, I was forever going to remain the same and I was never going to be happy. And so I took the plunge, I betted on myself, and I did it because I thought, if I don't, who's going to?
Yeah, you've got to be willing to help yourself, and that's one thing I try and get across to clients. Like I have, as you said before, like it's about not taking it personal. I have some clients who like absolutely fucking batter it, and this sounds terrible to say. I don't really give them as much effort as I would with other clients because they're kind of effortless to coach. Where I just go, do this, do this, and they do it.
They crack
then
on.
there's other clients who I've got to absolutely hold the hands, and I don't mind that. However, there are some where it's like, and you'll know this yourself, they're not willing to help themselves.
Yeah.
And you've got to be willing to help yourself. Like identifying you've got a problem, great. You've got to be willing to do it as well. Like
acting upon it.
Yeah.
Different kettle
exactly.
of fish.
Like you've mentioned there about your business coach side of things, and this is like applicable to everything. But if you paid a business coach, you wouldn't then just go, right, well, I'm minted. This is going to be great. I'll just watch the money quick.
No, the hard work's just begun.
No, you've just paid someone to tell you what to do. And that's like, I think that gets quite confused with coaching, like where just because you invest in time and money doesn't equal results, really. You've got to be doing it. Do you know what I mean?
I think this is the thing that a lot of people get wrong, isn't it? There needs to be some action behind what you say you want. Yeah. If there's no action behind, I can sit here and say, I want a villa in Spain, right? Well, the villa ain't going to buy itself. Like, there's that villa is not going to become my villa unless I put some action in behind what I say I want to prove to myself and to everybody else that I want it and that I can get it. It's just like, I think that's something that's become lost in translation a lot of the time. It's like some people do pay a coach because they think that if I pay, then hopefully something will happen. Yeah. I'm like, no, you need to do something about it.
It's really not. It's
implementation.
Like what you've just said there as well. Me and Chris were joking about it on our podcast where it was like what our end goal kind of looks like. And his is very similar.
I've seen this.
His is very similar where it's just like he wants a little house and he wants it in Wales. I want mine in the lakes. Like when I'm older.
The lakes would be an unreal place.
Thank you. I'm glad you favour with me. I'm glad you're on my side.
Wales is nice too.
Wales is still nice. Do you know what I mean? It's just, I think the Lakes is a bit better. That's all. But it's like, there's got to be, and me trying to get this across to people as well. Like I've spoke to a few people today, like whilst they've been out, and they've been like, how's business? And I'm like barely manageable. Like it's flying. Like it's absolutely flying.
I'm actually dying.
Yeah. I'm actually like losing my mind like in the process. But it's like for me to turn around and want that end thing, like I'm not just going to get it by not putting the fucking work in. But that is so applicable to absolutely everything, especially with like clients who, I think there is a weird value exchange in the mind of it's like, well, I'm paying money, so I'm going to be... No. You're paying money to get someone to show you how to do it.
And to absorb information and learn
You've got
how
to
to
want
do it.
to do it. Like you've really, really like got to want to do it. So it is one of those things that kind of gets lost in translation. But obviously with you've fucking smashed it, like with your whole business side of things.
And you know what as well? Like anyone who owns a business or is watching this and wants to own a business or be a coach or wants to start on their fat loss journey
Literally
or physique
anything
journey.
that requires, like anything progression.
It's any single thing progression-wise that you want to achieve in this life. Understand, and I don't mean this in a negative way, understand that the chances are you're going to fail a few times.
Yeah.
You're gonna hit quite a few bumps in the
Definitely,
road. Yeah. And you know, even when things are going good, you might hit a few more further down the line.
Yeah.
But it's about how you handle that bump in the road that determines where you're going to end up.
Definitely.
If you lie down and take it and die, like it's like, well then, yeah, okay, you failed. 100%. If you get up and go, right, okay, thinking logically now, what are my next steps to rectify this problem? What can I do better next time? What can I do to avoid this happening in the future?
Yeah.
Then it's always a win.
Yeah,
you're always
100%.
winning.
My favourite thing to say is there's always lessons in hardship or like lessons in losses.
And do you not
Definitely.
reckon that the biggest hardships in your life or the biggest lessons that have taken place in your life, let's say, have been the things that have pushed you forward the most?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, like it sounds so stupid. I had a thing at the back end of last year. I was that comfortable. Like it was really bad.
I remember you saying this.
Yeah. Really bad. Like it was the lowest mood I've ever had in my life. Like genuinely, like I don't mean to say this because I was not. Like let's just get this fucking like disclaimer straight away. I wasn't like suicidally thinking, what's the point?
Yeah.
But I was very much sitting there thinking, is this it?
What's next?
Have
I reached it?
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, is that it? Like it sounds stupid. I've had like quite a few of those moments where it's kind of like you get complacent, you get comfortable, you get bored, and it's like, oh, is this it? And you kind of just like sat there, aren't you? Where like I think like, and this year immediately I shook everything up. Obviously launched this in January.
New house.
Yeah, the whole house side of things, going into like a photo shoot, different things, and all of a sudden all these hardships, like I've learned a lot, and like my business is like fucking booming, like again. Do you know what I mean?
It's developed you personally.
Yeah,
again.
definitely. Because now I turn around. And I've looked at last year and gone, well, if I don't want that, I've got to fucking keep finding shit that's challenging. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what? Like, I know people are probably going to think this is fucking insane. Like, I honestly think, like, what is life without challenge? Like, I personally, and I don't mean God, like, please throw all the shit at me. And I don't mean
but
that.
I'm with you on
but
it.
I mean, what is life without challenging yourself? Like, come on, like how boring is life? How much do you stagnate as a person and your personal growth? Like for me, for life to be interesting and for me to be happy and content, I need to be challenged and stimulated in some way.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that doesn't fill me with like
I'm with you.
Happiness.
I said to someone, it was one of my good mates. I was trying to explain it to him, and I was just like, I'm just the happiest when I'm struggling.
When I'm fighting through.
I'm just the happiest when I'm struggling. Like, I just am. Like, if I go home and it's very platonic and just, like, usual...
Even.
Yeah.
Just like,
get up, go to work, earn money, come home, go to sleep. For me, I need some chaos in there. I need some...
I need the chaotic.
I need some absolute control chaos in there. But you do, for me, like, this sounds like proper over the top, but like, I say to a lot of people, and it's such a fucking true thing, this, and I read it, and it proper hit me, and it stuck with me. And it was a quote, and the quote was, a lot of men die at 24 and get buried at 75.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it's like, but you think, and this is no disrespect, I've got many mates who do this, but if it applies to you, have a fucking think, genuinely. You leave school, get a job, work, retire. That's it.
Done.
What else has happened? Like I said the other day on my story, and a few people popped up going, fucking hell, you all right? But I was like, with everything I've overcome and everything that I've gone through, the fucking Grim Reaper could walk through the door now and go, come on, mate, time's time. And I'd be like, I'm fucking happy with what I've done. Like, I've led a life of like, I've overcome everything, every single thing that's challenged me, I've overcome. Whereas if you kind of just like hit the same thing and do the same shit, and it's just like the whole, and some people, maybe they like it that way, but if you just like go through life drifting almost, it sounds terrible, and don't mean it offensively, but you're kind of dead already.
And
like,
you know what else?
It's
tying in closely to that. I think like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I feel like it's a woman and man thing, but like if you want to talk specifically about males, because I feel like it is a lot, it is predominantly males who do this. Like they will get in a job that they're not happy in, a relationship that they're not happy in. They will consistently go out on the weekends, get off their head, hide the fact that they hate their job, they actually hate their partner, they actually hate the humdrum of their life with alcohol and drugs and whatever else. And I see it so often, and I've got like a lot of lad mates, to be honest, and I just think like, do you know, like when people are living a life like that, I'm like, where's the challenge in that? Where's the stimulation? Where's the no wonder you cover your pain and you cover up the fact that you actually really don't like your life that much with drugs and alcohol, because there's nothing else exciting going on in your life right now.
And what you just said there, and like you've mentioned, the going out, like getting on it, different things, being in relationships you don't like. I always say like, choose your difficult, choose your hard. Like what you're doing's hard. Like you're going home to something that you don't like. You go into work doing something you don't like. And I've been there. This is why like I'm speaking from like a qualified
And you know
part.
What? Haven't most of us lived that life? And the reason why we know that you probably don't want to live it is because we've
done it. We've done it. And like, I always say like, choose your difficult. Like, and no matter what it is, I'm not turning around saying like, go and try and become like a fucking superstar. But go out and try and be something you actually fucking want to be. So if you turn around, like one thing I can't stand is when people give me problems, I give them solutions and they
don't want it.
You just want to moan. I'm like, well, don't talk to me. Because if you speak to me, I'm going to try and give you like actual solutions. I'm going to try and like solve the problem that you've got. And it's like, it's difficult to go out and solve your problems. Of course it is, as we've just mentioned. Like you've got that hardship, you've got that thing that like, it is going to push back on you and it's going to be difficult. But it's also difficult sitting in a position that you fucking hate. So and which one do you want?
I literally watched I was on Instagram the other day, and it's funny that you've actually said that, because somebody else was talking about that thing, but in a different way, you know what I mean? And it got me thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? It's true, innit? Like, you can either start trying to lose fat, change your body, go for a promotion, improve yourself in whatever way it is that you need to improve yourself right now, and then give up in a week's time and then wait 6 months and start the whole process again. Or and wonder why the fuck you didn't start sooner, you know? Or you can just start now, and even with all the hardships that come along with it, because it is fucking difficult to make change in your life regardless of what it is that you're actually trying to change. Just fucking stick at it. And put up with the hard, because it's hard to fucking be where you're at right now. You absolutely hate it. So what's the difference in just choosing a different kind of hard? You might as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's and I don't mean it in like a like put up and shut up kind of way, but it's like fucking make a choice. Like we're all doing something hard, and it's just up to you what kind of hard you want it to be. And I think that's why I'm so comfortable with, like, you know, we've spoken a lot about like burnout culture and things like that, like me and Chris, and like I do think there is a line, you know, there is a line, but I think that's one of the reasons why at this particular point in my life, like I am happy to like do the whole grind thing. I am happy to pull the late nights, early mornings. I am happy I'm happy to do it. And don't get me wrong, I need to start to make time for chill time, which I have started to do, because I think that that's massively important to get that right balance, even though I don't actually feel anything is ever balanced. It's always in the favour of grind or play, isn't it? Like just that little bit more dependent upon where you are in your career, your life. But I do think my life did definitely require just a slight bit more balance, which is what I'm working on right now. But I am happy to grind, because I'm like, it's either put up with the hardships of me not grinding, or just shut the fuck up and do what I need to do to be where I want to be.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's it.
100%. I think it is identifying like that position as well, because I know it sounds stupid. As coaches, definitely in that perspective, you can kind of like take on a shitload of work and then convince yourself like it's bad.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, I've got all these talents. Oh my God, I've got all this. Yeah. Is that not what you wanted?
That is what you wanted.
Yeah, that's exactly what you wanted.
So like, you want to be busy.
Yeah, exactly. So I turn around sometimes, and like one thing I've been like doing a lot of recently, and it's this again sounds so fucking stupid, but I try and not, although I'm positive like all the time, I try not even talk negative out loud.
Yeah.
So people used to go to me and go, busy, and I go, too busy.
Now you don't say it.
And now they go, busy, and I go, fucking flying. And it's just different. And like all of a sudden, that little positive affirmation, that little bit of positive fucking talk from yourself, like it just kind of like get more wind in your sails doing it. Do you know what I mean? And it is such a like convincing yourself that you're not in a, because you can convince yourself you're in a kind of bad position with that, can't you?
Yeah,
I think. When you're like, oh my God, look at me having all this success. What a fucking dream.
How dare people sign up
I know,
for me?
yeah. How dare people pay me for my service? Oh my God.
How dare I get what I want?
Yeah, it's like, stupid, innit? But silly. It happens.
But like, you know what as well? And I don't mean this in like an airy-fairy bullshit way.
Yeah.
But do you know what really helps for life to feel that little bit easier? And people always laugh when I say this, but I'm going to say it anyway because it'll resonate with somebody. And I know that it helped me. I think you've got to be in the right place to hear it though, or believe in that kind of thing. But like, wake up and make the choice to be fucking grateful for what you've got in this life. Because if you're not grateful for what you've got right now and where you are, you won't be grateful for all of the amazing things to come that you're going to achieve and the things that you're going to get and do and who you're going to be with and your relationships that you're going to have. You won't be grateful for any of that stuff if you can't be grateful for what you've got right now.
Yeah.
So for me, I think I honestly, some days it's hard, but I honestly do wake up and try and make the choice to be fucking grateful.
Yeah, yeah.
Even if, like, when things aren't going my way and when things aren't perfect, I honestly actively wake up. And if the first thought in my mind is something negative, I'll immediately go, like, actually tell myself internally, like, nah, like, that's not how we're starting the day.
No, definitely not.
I'm fucking happy for what I've got and I'm happy for what I'm doing.
That is such a powerful thing to do as well. Like, gratefulness, people don't realise, like, you're like rewiring your brain to like just look for positives and to be grateful. And don't get me wrong, when you first start, like
feels weird.
You're probably going to be like, especially if you're in a position that you fucking can't stand, you're probably going to be like basic, like, oh, I've woke up breathing today.
Yeah.
It sounds stupid, but someone else hasn't. Like, oh shit, I'm walking to work today. There's someone else who can't walk to work. Do you know what I mean?
And it's, you know what? For me,
but it slowly snowballs, I think.
For me, it was the little things at first, though. Like when I started doing all that stuff around the same time that I started meditating, and it was like, you know, the typical like write down 3 things that you are grateful for at the end of your day or the beginning of your day, right? I mean, now I don't need to like sit and write it down. It is good if you can sit and write it down. And it's just kind of something that just comes into my mind. But like, it can be the coffee that you're drinking in the morning that you've made, and you're sitting at the table drinking your coffee. You've got 5 minutes to yourself before the day starts. Like, it's those things. It's for, do you know now as well, like I'll be driving down the motorway or whatever, and like I'm a sucker for a pretty sky, yeah. You know, like if like there's a pretty sunset or a sky or something, like I'll get like a tingly feeling genuinely all over my body, and I'll just look out over like the motorway and just be like, I'm grateful for this day. Yeah. Like it just becomes something that like just genuinely pops into your mind. Once you start to do it, once it becomes habit, it's not something that you necessarily need to sit and write down forevermore. It's something that'll just happen in your brain every time you do feel grateful. It's like, oh, I'm grateful for that. God, like I got to see that today.
Like you said, it's like rewiring.
I genuinely
literally
believe
like rewiring
that.
Your brain.
I genuinely believe that.
For like looking at, like it is just rewiring your brain to like be grateful for what you've got. And
while working for what you want.
So I think especially this day and age, like people find it so hard to be grateful because there's always something fucking out, and like it's in your face because it's like you go on Instagram,
social media.
You go on Instagram, there's always shit that you're not going to have, always stuff that you're going to have, but you're not going to have. Sorry, but like if you sit down and focus on what you got going for you, like so many people who I know who just don't stop fucking moaning. I'm like, you've actually got like a really good life. And
people would kill to be in the position that you're in.
Yeah. There's people who would happily swap places with you.
Yeah.
Like, and there's a lot there to kind of like be grateful for, which is it is such a powerful thing that, and I try and get it across to people, but it's an acquired thing, isn't it?
It's something like I've done like some like trainings on it.
You're gonna
and
be
stuff.
done by 4:30.
What time is it?
4:30. I'm not bullshitting you.
I've got another 5 minutes and then we'll go.
Okay, we're gonna have to like wrap this up.
5 minutes and then I'll
That's
get
gone quick.
an
That.
hour. I know.
How long have we been going?
We're gonna have to do another one.
50. Wow.
We're gonna have to do another one.
50
There's
minutes.
so much that we could have spoken about that
I
we
know.
haven't spoken about yet.
Well, I was sitting here thinking, it was like 20 past and I was like, we haven't even covered
Half of it.
half of a spidergram here.
I know. So we've got another podcast in us then.
Yeah, we have done. We've got another one. Got to have to do like a part 2. No, go on, carry on.
I think that'd
you
be
can
good.
spare me 5 more minutes in your busy schedule.
I can. But a part 2 would be good. I'd be down for that because there's loads we've not
Are you
covered.
going to actually bring your fucking information with you this
I'll
time?
bring the spider diagram.
I'm actually going to try and find this when we go off, and I'm actually going to go and find this video because I've got a video on my phone
Of the spider
diagram. Yeah.
There was quite a lot that we haven't covered, but to be honest, it'll probably work quite well because this has been all about like.
How do you want to wrap this up? Do you want to like
grassroots
do you want to like, I don't know, have you got something on your mind? What do you think people would like take value from?
Oh my god, that is.
What's
such a
the most
profound
difficult
question.
thing you're facing right now, personal or business?
Ooh.
Oh, I'm in here.
Oh.
I'm in. And how are you dealing with it, if at all? Like, are you dealing with it? Oof.
That is
Jesus.
large
That
and
is
charged.
that is
What
a
is the
difficult
biggest
one.
thing that I'm dealing with in business?
Like what? Well, anything. Like is what in your life at the moment? Like I spoke about it on the podcast, and I used to suffer extremely fucking badly with like imposter syndrome, really bad. And I spoke about it on the podcast. Who was it with? That was it, Steve, or was it someone else? When I spoke about the imposter syndrome thing, might have been Steve.
I think a lot of people suffer with imposter syndrome, and I don't think I've met a coach yet to this day, unless they're extremely arrogant, who has never suffered with it.
Yeah.
So I don't feel alone in that, by the way. But like, I think maybe a little bit similar in terms of like maybe moments of self-doubt, which is quite big to admit, I think, really, because I am obviously in a position where I not just coach fat loss clients, but I coach coaches as well. And like there is moments of self-doubt, I think, that creep in with that in life.
Yeah.
And I and also my personal life as well. Like I think that all of those things kind of tie together in it. And my business and my self-worth, I think, I hate to admit it, but are heavily intertwined. And I think if something ever goes wrong in business, my self-worth hits the floor.
Right.
I think if business is going well, my self-worth is at an all-time
Yeah.
high. So that's actively something that I am working on right now.
Like
And I
trying
think,
to detach.
yeah, trying
Yeah.
to detach those two things, because my self-worth, I'm self-aware enough to know that my self-worth actually should not be connected to the business or my
definitely
job. And obviously everything's going great right now. So for me, I'm like self-worth's at an all-time high, but I also know what it's like when business isn't going well, or when things happen in life and it's not going well. And I'm like, and my self-worth is on the floor. And I think now that I'm in a good position right now, I think I'm more hyper aware of it, funnily enough, that my self-worth is heavily tied to it, because I'm like, well, why do I feel so good right now? Is that because everything's going in the direction I want it to? And if so, those things need to be detached from each other.
Yeah.
And I think after coming, I mean, not to get into it too much, I mean, and we can explore this on the part 2, but coming back from...
She's booked herself in.
Yeah, I booked myself in for part 2. I'm sure you'll love it. But coming back from Dubai was quite heavy because I had a big instance at the end of it, of course. And I think I wasn't expecting it to affect me as much as it did. And I feel like my self-worth was probably at an all-time low. And because my self-worth was at an all-time low, I felt like everything was shit. I felt like the business was on its lazzies, which it wasn't. But because of how I was feeling, I think that's massively highlighted to me how connected self-worth and my business are. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if I'm feeling like shit personally, I feel like the business is shit. If the business, something's going wrong with the business, I feel like I'm shit. And I'm like, those two things just shouldn't be connected. And now that I'm in a really good place personally and professionally, I think I'm noticing, actually, Luce, like, those two things are really heavily connected, because now you feel your self-worth's at an all-time high because things are going well. And I just think I don't want...
well, the thing is as well, because like your identity as a coach, that is your identity in it. Really.
And this is something that we spoke about at Chris's Limitless event.
Yeah.
Like, somebody touched upon this. It was Dan from TMP.
He's boss Dan, isn't he? To be
I
fair.
love him. I've got a call with him next week actually, because I just want to explore the option of that fair there. I really connect with Dan, to be honest. Like really like him as a person. Just think he's very good at honing in on where you need help.
Yeah.
In a personal development sense. And I just think that, like, if you're somebody right now who is tying their self-worth or entire identity to their business, their career progression, or where they're at in life, like, maybe try and take some active steps to not do that.
Yeah.
Because your self-worth has got nothing to do with your career.
So is that what you're doing right now to like get better with that?
What?
Like, are you trying to like
Explore.
Like so obviously I asked you tonight what you're struggling with and how you're dealing with it. Is that what you're doing to deal with it?
Come to Dan.
No, not going to Dan, but like where you've said like if you tie them, like is that what you're trying to do now? Like untie them?
Yeah. Essentially.
Yeah.
And essentially, I'm trying to unconnect those two things because as a self-aware person, I know that those two things shouldn't be connected. Like,
No.
Do you know what I mean? I've done enough work on myself to know, like, hang on a minute, those things actually don't really connect. They're not connected. But I think, especially in our kind of job, you do suddenly you as a person morph. Your identity morphs into the job.
Yeah.
And I think it can become so easy for self-worth to become connected to that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like actively trying to like meditate more, take care of myself more, like do things outside of work. Like I've started reading again, which is like a big love of mine that I haven't like really been able to be involved in for a long time because I've felt like I'm so busy and my mind's so full of stuff. And now I'm actively trying to take moments of my week to spend on going to yoga, meditating, reading, finding out what I want.
You're trying to like you're trying to have Lucy the coach and Lucy completely separate.
Yeah.
That's probably a really good bit of advice,
disconnect
isn't it?
them just a little bit.
It's probably a really good bit of advice that like loads of people can take on board. That
especially if you are a career-minded person, because guys, like, it's all right to be ambitious. It's actually, I think, and I know not everybody is, and that's okay as well. But it's a really amazing thing to get such fulfillment from a job or your business, like as what I do. I feel very privileged actually to be able to do not one but two jobs that I actually get immense fulfillment out of.
Yeah.
But despite that, it shouldn't be the driver in where my self-worth is.
It shouldn't
sitting.
dictate your mood and dictate like how you feel about yourself. Definitely not.
And that's the main thing, yeah.
Well, that was a really good answer to what was the finishing question. What are you doing next week?
I'm on your podcast.
Should we do it?
Yeah.
I'm not joking. Should we back to back it?
Yeah.
And then like, because we've actually got loads to speak about here.
Yeah, I'm game for that.
What you saying, Chris? Where's Chris? Is he still here? Has he gone? We'll have to check his diary, but just back to back it.
Yeah.
Because I was sat there thinking, I was like, I wonder if she's game, because what we don't want to do is we don't want to do part one, then I have 5 guests, and then we go part 2, and everyone goes, hang on, I listened to that 10 weeks ago, like, who the fuck's this?
Yeah,
So
I'm happy for that.
Next week, what time?
You
You heard it here.
I am free.
She's a fucking nightmare to tie down.
I'm free. I've got a meeting at 8:30 in the morning and then one at 12, and that's it, because I can make sure that I've booked my day out.
Okay, well, I hope you've all enjoyed listening, and we will continue with this next week.
Yes.
So thanks for taking the time to do this in your clearly very busy schedule.
You're so welcome, and I've severely enjoyed it.
By the way,
I'll have to go. But
how long's it been? An hour?
love you and leave us.
This is like the longest podcast. Yeah, enjoy it.
I did.